Hello and welcome to what is hopefully the first of many videos by myself, FPLIrons, also known as Luke, on the FanTeam Weekly Monster Tournament. Each game week I'm going to share with you my favourite 5 picks for the week ahead. Let's get started on game week 34. First up is probably the most obvious pick of the season. It's Harry Kane at home to Sheffield United. He's the man with the most goals in the league, the most assists in the league, up against the worst side in the league, arguably one of the worst sides in Premier League history. The only issue that we do find for ourselves is that he has been priced at 14.5 million, which is a large percentage of our £105 million budget. For me though, I think it's a fair valuation of a world-class asset that most people will be looking to captain. At the moment, he's 1 goal ahead of Mo Salah in the race for the Golden Boot with 21 goals. And based on Tottenham's performance in the Carabao Cup final, Harry Kane needs to turn his focus to personal accolades because trophies are not coming to Tottenham anytime soon. When we look at his recent performances and recent form, he has 8 goals and 2 assists in his last 8 games, which is obviously incredibly impressive, and I don't see that stopping against Sheffield United. He also, in 2021, has an expected goal involvement per game of 0.88, which is only bettered by West Ham forward Michail Antonio. The only issue that we do have with this Tottenham side is that we don't know how they're going to prepare for Premier League games against the likes of Sheffield United, with Ryan Mason in charge. He's new to management and we know very little about his style. My hope is that he'll be playing Bale on the right, Son on the left, with Dele Alli in behind Harry Kane. If that does happen, I expect an absolute monster haul at the weekend against Sheffield United. Next up is England and Chelsea midfield maestro Mason Mount, who's been priced at 12.2 million. Some may feel it's a little bit steep, but in my opinion, he'll come good on that price tag against a lacklustre Fulham side who look dead and buried in the race for survival. Mason Mount put in a man-of-the-match display against West Ham at the weekend to boost Chelsea's top 4 hopes. He had 6 shots on target and created 3 chances, and if it weren't for an incredible performance from Lucas Fabianski, returns would have been coming his way. I believe those returns are coming this game week against Fulham. The key thing that we have to consider this week when we're picking any Chelsea assets is that they are playing in the first and second leg of the Champions League semi-finals against Real Madrid, either side of this Fulham fixture. So we need to consider who is playing a large amount of minutes since Thomas Tuchel has become the manager. Mason Mount missed his first fixture up against Wolves, but since then has been a mainstay in the side, playing 81% of all minutes for Chelsea. In my opinion, he will play all 3 of those fixtures and he will be a pivotal cog in the Chelsea side against Fulham this weekend. Next up, I'm going slightly more differential with the pick of GW34 FanTeam. Everton will be flying high after an away day victory in game week 33 against Arsenal. In game week 34, they face a pretty poor Aston Villa side who in 2021 have the 6th worst expected goals against in the division in that time frame. The main reason that I've chosen GW34 is not only the fact that he is priced lower than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison and James Rodriguez at 9.8 million, is also the fact that he is on corners, free kicks and most importantly, he will be on penalties. Similarly, Everton have something to fight for, which is a key thing that we need to consider when we put our teams together. Everton have lofty ambitions of getting a European spot next season, and in my opinion, I think they probably will do it, coming above the likes of maybe Tottenham, potentially even West Ham, who have a lot of injuries. GW34's recent form has been decent. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 8 games, nothing to be sniffed at, and at 9.8 million, I think he can be a real bargain and you should get him in your side. Next up, I'm going for Newcastle's main man, SAINT-MAXIMIN, who has been priced at 7.2 million this game week. He's playing for a Newcastle side who have everything to play for. A few more points should guarantee them Premier League football next season. In comparison, they're playing an Arsenal side whose whole season is heavily reliant on a Europa League win. Realistically, they have very little to play for in the Premier League. They're going to finish between 9th and 11th, and I expect a second string 11 to play at St James's Park at the weekend. SAINT-MAXIMIN came back from injury 4 game weeks ago, and in that time, Newcastle have drawn with Spurs, beaten Burnley and West Ham, and drew with Liverpool at the weekend. In that time, Alan St-Maximin's expected goal involvement per 90 has been 0.81. When we compare that with what I spoke about earlier with regards to Harry Kane at 0.88, these are some serious numbers. They're numbers as well that could be boosted if Callum Wilson comes back to full fitness and starts this game week. I think if that deadly duo is back, you could be seeing some serious points in your FanTeam lineup this game week. My final pick of the game week is going to be Matías Pereira. FanTeam have priced him at 8.6 million at home to a Wolves side who have just come off the back of an incredibly embarrassing defeat to Burnley. Matías Pereira, in my opinion, should be the Premier League Player of the Month for April. He scored 4 goals and assisted 2. He's playing in a West Brom side that unfortunately have struggled a lot this season. They have the second worst XG in the division. However, in April, they did have the 6th highest. I think for me, they look like a team who are playing with freedom. Now they know they're pretty much relegated. It's a real shame they couldn't kind of find this form earlier in the season. The other key thing that I like about Pereira, again, similar to Mount and Sigurdsson, is that he's going to be taking the free kicks, the corners, and the penalties. When you look at the set piece potential he's got with the likes of Ajayi, Bartley, and Diagne in the box, there's definitely some points that could come his way if West Brom play to their full capabilities this game week. Okay, so that is that for my game week 34 top 5 picks. We've got Kane, Mount, Sigurdsson, ASM, and Pereira. Please DM me, tweet me your teams. I need some inspiration. I'll be back for game week 35 in a bit.